afternoon, all.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon
Yeah.
to all of you. MB Satish Garu, Dr. Ravi Reddy Garu, Mr. Ram Babu, Burugu, Mr. Veer Mash. Also requested,
Yeah, hi, security guys.
yeah,
I'm here. Can you
yeah,
Good afternoon, all.
Hi, good afternoon.
good afternoon. All of you. I think some noise is there, Narendra. Satish
Yeah.
Garu, Dr. Ravi Reddy Garu.
Yes, sir. I'm fine, sir.
Yeah. I also requested Ram Babu from CMAC also to join with us. So basically, this session to discuss about the building a new India. So everybody is emphasizing there is a huge demand for the infrastructure because every day the population is growing and growing. With that population, the infrastructure requirement will grow up, and also the housing and office, retail and logistic, other the infrastructure also required. Even the social infrastructure also requires the basic fundamental requirement of the built-up space. So and even in the recent past, if you see, welcome Ram Babu Garu, Engineer Ram Babu Garu from CMAC, welcome. So the per capita wealth also, if you see recent years, the per capita wealth also has gone up. Even I have been observing the last after Telangana formation, the 10 districts making 30 plus districts. See the reach of the villages from the district headquarters has become very within no time they can reach. The properties also, land properties also, agriculture land properties also, I think multiplied by 2 times or 3 times. So the wealth creation is also there, and because of the consumption, heavy consumption in the country, also the revenue is also going up, and it is estimated roughly around for next 20 years about $4.5 trillion is going to be spent on the infrastructure. So then what are our potential projects? What are the projects? What are the new technologies? And also mechanization, skilling. See, because now there is infrastructure like the new airports are required. Wherever it's not there, people are preferring, and smaller airports will become larger airports. Road networking, and most of the urban urban areas, the local government is thinking to go for elevated flyovers, or the best example of the LNT under PPP model metros. So the cargo is also increasing like that, and even national highways requirement is also there, and seaports, logistics, even STPs, because of these. Now everybody want to recycle and reuse the water. They save the water. This is catching up in a big way. Every municipal corporation, urban area, they're taking up these STPs in a big way. In urban waste, also recycling of urban waste also major in future. The concentration will be there. Already started. Water supply, that is also one of the infrastructure. Power, and Dr. Ravi Reddy Garu and this company, they have got a lot of latest technology. This is solar power units, and then industrial estates nowadays, like Delhi, Mumbai industrial corridor. So similar types of corridors are planned across the country. Much more may come. See, and investment zones also. So, and building office spaces, retail, residential, modernization of urban cities, making the smart cities. So the redevelopment part will definitely take place. In fact, we are seeing the parliament also. They are going to construct a new parliament. Even in Hyderabad, Telangana government is going for the new secretariat. So redevelopment already started. That is also a major opportunity, and huge investment is required. So, new walk to work townships are planned. Many the towns are planning. Many UDAs are planning for that. Then uh, even this COVID, as educated, a lot of awareness is given. Everybody want to know upgrade their infrastructure, living standards. Most probably all the municipalities, villages across the country, they would like to have better infrastructure. That is also huge opportunity to huge expenditure is required. Healthcare, education also. So and sustainability. So these are the major issues, and what are the opportunities, and the how we are going to meet those demands, because time is also a issue. See, with the delivering the all these projects with shortest distance of time, and also a quality product with the international standard. So these are the issues before the industry, Indian industry, how we are going to answer this. So for this, we got extremely good panel. I can say I have no hesitation in calling our MB Satish Garu. He got a lot of experience. I can say he is one of the Bhishma Pitamaha in the construction field. So he has executed many airports, Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport, IGI Airport, New Delhi, then Mumbai's Waked Stadium, and he has many roles he has played in L&T, and let us listen to him. Listen to him. In fact, anyway, whenever I listen to senior people from L&T, is a very educative, because I had long-term relations in a National Academy of Construction when we started. A. Ramakrishna Garu was there as a initial vice chairman of the L&T. Every time, because he stayed for a long time in Germany, so he used to tell what are the advancements in the various countries. I could able to learn, and similarly, and now recently I start interacting with MV Satish Garu. Is a chairman of the task force of the infrastructure sector in the entire southern region. He's heading that, and is coming out with a lot of innovative conferences, seminars. We keep on having the interactions with him. So I request Satish Garu to enlighten all the participants with your rich experience, how to answer what are the solutions, what are the issues going to be. So I think I request to you, and over to you, Satish Garu.
Thank you, Cesar Reddy Garu. I think India has a huge opportunity. I think, the state and central government, especially after this pandemic when the GDP is down, one of the ways that they are looking to drive the GDP is through infrastructure. So, and also the government, even in the last budgets, they unveiled around 111 lakh crores, into the infrastructure. So, and India is going to become the third largest construction market. So, I think it must be all very, very good news for all of us in the infrastructure. And to just see how much infrastructure is there. If you see the national highways, only 24% of our national highways are 4-lane. Even this 4-lane can become 6-lane, and balance are all only 2-lane, all that, and also all these 2-lane can become 4-lane, and so there's huge the possibility there for us to grow. Even if you take the hospitals, the number of beds available today in India is about 8.5 beds per 10,000 persons. Actually, the minimum requirement is around 3, and the government is looking at least in next 2 years. They want to actually increase it by this Ayushman Bharat and all, at least to 2. If it is 2, means at least we are doing almost, another about 150%. We have to build so much of hospitals. And with this COVID, I think there's a large focus on building hospitals. So this is something that, the government is doing. We also have the housing for all by 2022. I think the government is really pushing. And with work from home, and many people are now willing to work from home. And also the COVID has made people are also, they want a much better house, a much better infrastructure, and they may be willing to pay also. And in addition, if you see the elite housing may not be really doing good now because of the real estate and liquidity problems and all. But the affordable housing per se, so we have almost a requirement of about 25 million affordable housing, in all these places and all. I think that is mostly the affordable housing is done by the government. So they have brought in many other things and also. I think this is something that we should really kickstart. I think these are the things. We also got the 100 smart cities, and I think not many smart cities have been completed. So this is something we really can look forward for our construction possibilities. In addition to that, also whatever happening between US and China, I think also some of the manufacturing will get shifted to India. So that is some kind of a good news. Actually, we used to always tell, India went by the IT revolution than the manufacturing revolution. Actually, our chairman used to always say the kind of job creation that can be done by IT is not so much as what is done in the manufacturing. At least at last now, with whatever is happening between US, China, India, China, and all, I think a lot of manufacturing will be done in India. So the government is also identifying some special areas for this manufacturing. Already we are seeing Foxconn and all is coming to India, setting up for Apple manufacturing. I think this is all the starting point. Many such things will happen. And the next one is that let's see the office space and the IT is not doing well, and with work from home, there's not much demand and all. But there'll be huge demand for data centers because we're the second largest user of the internet, the number of people and all. So we need this data actually, the data centers. And today, actually, there was an article I was seeing, the CNBC TV 18. They say the logistics, if India wants to become an export hub and all, the cost of the logistics in India is very high. Generally, universally, it's around 9%, whereas in India, it's around 14% because we don't have good roads, we don't have good ports, everything. So all that I think is being addressed. So I'm sure if you want to make India an export hub and all, I think this is something that we have to really focus and see how we can do it. So there are many things. I think first of all is Hyderabad. I think Hyderabad is one of the best infrastructures I think in India. So whether it is the Google now or earlier the Microsoft or the ISB, so always people are preferring Hyderabad and Telangana compared to other places because you have good infrastructure in Hyderabad. I think that is something. And also your airport is getting expanded. I think L&T only is doing the job up to with, of course, the owners and GMR. And so we are doing the job. I think it will come very fast, the airport. We also got the defense, huge land available very near to the airport, and it's also now the base for some of the manufacturing of defense. Tata is thinking of putting up a huge factory there. And today also the Prime Minister said that a lot of manufacturing for defense will be done in India, many other things. So I think this will all give a boost to a lot of construction and other things. So I think we are at the right time. Okay, this actually the pandemic has actually driven us a little bit down, but I think it's a couple of months when we start picking up. Frankly, already if you see now in our project sites and all, almost about 80 to 90% of the workmen are back, and it has picked up. Only way is how will we do all these things? Now, suppose you're also going to restrict the entry of the Chinese contractors and all. Does India has a wherewithal to execute these jobs? See, all our jobs get delayed. Our jobs and all takes from 48 to 60 months and all. So how do we do it ahead of schedule? How do we do it fast and all? So I was telling that, like in Singapore and all, if you take, they actually use, instead of just toilet, they use toilet pots where everything is completed. Same way they use precast, pre-finished, volumetric concrete and all, which is very fast. So what happens there is the whole thing, not only just the structure, the interior, the finishes, everything is done and you just erect it. That way you can also do hospitals, you can do hotels, everything. And many places they say that most of the hotels will be done with PPVC and all. So, and we are not doing anything with steel construction because in India, everything is actually ultimately priced, very, very price competitive. So people will compare prices. So, but somewhere we'll have to see how to do it fast. So that we can, whatever, if you do it faster, and if you're able to realize the value much faster, then I think you should be able to do, they should be able to pay us a little bit more so that we can do either PPVC or steel and all. I think this is something that we have to drive. I think that's very, very important. So I think, and also what we are going to do is, not many people are coming for working actually. People don't want to do actually civil work and all gone those olden days. So we do a lot of outsourcing. We do precast, pre-finished, and we have to use a lot of robotics. We have to use artificial intelligence, all that, so that otherwise the skill levels are missing today. So I think whatever skill levels are missing has to be done with the machinery. That was happened in any developed country like Europe or America and all. So I think the same thing is going to happen in India. And many of the workmen, at least for another 6 months to 1 year, many of them will not come out of home. Even today, though we have got 80 to 90%, the productivity is less because all these workmen are fresh. So we have to again train them, so it takes a lot of time. And also there is there's a gap between the skilled and unskilled. Generally, the number of unskilled people are almost about 90%, and the skilled are only 10% today. So that is also giving a very low productivity to it. So all these things are there. So the mechanization, the automation, I think these are some of the solutions. And I request everybody. So we are also doing a lot of programs actually as part of the infrastructure for the Southern chapter. How to do digitalization, how to do it faster, not only just for buildings, we're also doing it for the roads, we're also doing it for the dedicated corridor. So we're organizing this seminar, I think, on the September 24th and 25th. I think it will be really nice. We're also going to get some people from, abroad and all, how to benchmark, these global practices and all. So I think it will be very good. Maybe I think that time we can address many more such issues. So thank you very much, Reddy Garu, for, giving me an opportunity.
So, Satish Garu, I'm sorry, forgotten to mention. Satish Garu is the whole-time director and senior executive vice president, buildings, minerals and materials of L&T Group. So we are regular. So definitely, we'll try to bring all the people on the board to our next conference, because we are also doing similar conferences here locally also. But since it's the Southern, under your leadership, it is happening, we'll all bring entire they have the Telangana, the structural consultants, the developers, contractors, everybody will bring it to the platform, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Whatever the experience you have and knowledge you have for enlightening our all panelists. Thank you very much. We have another one more similar to L&T, I can say, Mega Engineering and Infrastructure Limited. Dr. Ravi Reddy Garu is the director of Mega Engineering, and is a doctorate in mechanical engineering. And they are doing many countries, the works, large works in many countries, many states in India, mega projects. So you name anything, they are going to be there. Even they entered now e-vehicles also. They have done a lot of power projects. Particularly, I was hearing the latest. They implemented long ago latest technology in implementing the solar projects. So they are into roads. They are into pump houses. They are big way into irrigation. Kaleshwaram. Now it's a big brand in the country. There are very few contractors, big contractors, and Mega is now one of the contractor. And Ravi Reddy Garu also very articulative. Also, he speaks well, and and definitely with his knowledge and wisdom, I think we are all going to benefit. Ravi Reddy Garu, same question to you also. See how the so much of infrastructure is going to be required for us in the next 20 years. So how we are going to meet this demand, and what are the other innovations you have in mind? So because all the participants, they would like to know from the leaders how you have grown, where they should also build their capacity also to grow, particularly small and medium developers across the country. And also your experience also will give a lot of insights to the many consultants, structural consultant, architects who are also participating in the program. Over to Dr. Ravi Reddy Garu.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. This seems to be the first thing on any video conference. Instead of saying hello or namaste, first thing you have to say is I'm audible. First of all, I want to thank everyone who is online for this conference, because it really is a great effort by CII to keep the efforts going. Because in COVID, everything lockdown, they're working very hard to keep the online events and conferences going. And I really thank Shubhajit and his entire team for their tireless efforts for making this happen. And I also want to, I was really impressed by the talk given by Mr. M.V. Satish. I'm not such a big guy in infrastructure. I'm quite a newcomer and I play a small role. But I'll still like to give my 2 cents of inputs. When we talk about India's growth, we all believe that India is growing and India will grow, and every international study says that India will grow. Unfortunately, nobody understands how it's going to grow, because India as an economic animal is a very complex animal. And I'll just give one example. The best efforts of the Modi government to handle COVID, they were totally blindsided by the migrant worker issue. Means it came out as a surprise, and That's the kind of complicated animal that Indian economy is. Means the migrant worker issue was never envisaged. I'm sure that if it was in the plans, the central government would have done a better job. But that's the kind of economic animal that India is. Another small example, when Hyderabad airport was made, I went and thought, wow, this is such a big airport. Within a few years, it was filled up kach like a RTC bus stop. And now we are expanding. So it means like somehow the Indian economy defies planning and analysis in some way, because I think because of the huge population, because of the diversity, I don't know what. So the challenge for any state government and central government remains to be able to kind of understand this animal and to steer it in the proper way. So they, say the Indian tiger, it really is a tiger, but nobody knows how to control the tiger. Having said that, number two, we really need a continued focus from the central government on grand projects, because the state governments do not have the financial layouts for grand projects. Just to mention the Golden Quadrangle, when it was envisaged by the Vajpayee government, I think people believe it's impossible to build a Golden Quadrangle, but now we have built the Golden Quadrangle, we have built all the diagonals, and now Mr. M.V. Satish was saying that 4 lane is nothing, we need 6 lanes. So it has become a commonplace thing, but it all started off with a grand vision. Similarly, the ideas of these transport corridors, wonderful idea. I think it needs a lot of investment. How it will happen, nobody knows. Then the riverways and the waterways for transport. I think the Modi government is trying a new innovative idea. It's a low-cost transport idea, but needs a lot of work. The 100 smart cities which Mr. M.V. Satish mentioned, and you keep hearing a lot of cynical remarks about progress is not being made. But again, it's a very grand idea, and we really don't know how to do it. We are learning, and I think we are optimistic it will happen. So it has to be, these grand projects only can be floated by the center, and then because the state government have to follow and do it. So I hope that the central government, whichever political party is there, continues to envisage this grand project. For example, even the ultimate dream, which some people keep mentioning, is the river linking. Any point of time in India, some part is in flood, some part is in drought. Can we really do the river linking to do that? It's an ultra grand project. Number 3, I think it's been the experience of our organization that doing projects in places like Tanzania and Zambia is easier than doing in India. Somebody has to work on ease of doing business. India continues to do very poor on that index, and that's, I think, something which can be fixed, but it needs a lot of political will, and it will definitely give a boost to the infrastructure the way it's being made, because there are a lot of these issues with single point ease of doing business has to be improved. Number 4, there's a huge banking crisis, I think. Okay, we had some scandals on one side, we had some huge NPAs like issue hanging on one side. On the other hand, I think the central government has taken a decision of making these big banks. I do appreciate the idea, because I think the small banks were getting stuck in a lot of small issues. So the big banks should be a good idea, but banking remains a very conservative business and kind of a constrained business. So I don't know how, but the banking business has to be made more aggressive and more world scale, because we're really not able to compete at the world level. At the same time, we are not allowing the outside banks to come and participate. So there is a banking crisis and it's particularly worse for the small and medium entrepreneurs. Please, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I really believe that it's mainly for the small and medium entrepreneurs that this banking crisis is a huge issue for them. Finally, I just want to repeat that one of the way forward is pure innovation. Technology exists, and we have to embrace it as soon as possible. And that has been one of the key points of the learning and growing curve of MAIL. We have been working with new technologies on most of our high-speed projects in Pattisima. With the partnership of Larsen & Toubro, we tried membrane walls. We saved a whole lot of time and energy. now we are trying to work on this tunnel project in the ice-swept heights of Kashmir. So the sheer logistics of the project, where you cannot even travel for 8 months in a month, is going to pose a challenge. Another small example I give you is the ad being given by our local company, Indus. I see the ad about their new apartments being made with concrete walls. When I saw the ad, I said, yeah, it makes sense. But why is nobody doing it? Look, it just makes sense. Once I saw the ad, I said, yes, man, concrete walls would decrease the weight of the building, and there's so many plus points. But I guess there are some challenges in the molds and all, but I think somebody has to take the lead in bringing such innovations. And then I saw another ad of Indus where they installed fire alarms, which you go anywhere abroad, you see it is a part of standard infrastructure, but we Indians haven't yet kind of embraced it, and I'm sure a lot of fire accidents can be avoided. So maybe small innovations, big innovations, but I think that's the way to go. That's about my 2 cents worth of inputs. Thank you, Shekhar Garu.
I request now Babu, Executive Director, Pranava. He is a NRI, he's an entrepreneur. He got many industries, the group of many industries, and they are also in a big way into real estate. And they are constructing one of the largest project in the heart of the city, which is platinum rated. It's going to give value addition to the Grand Hyderabad. I now request Ram Babu Garu to go ahead. Over to you. Are you going to give that slide presentation? Also is ready?
Yes, yes, Shekhar. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Just a second, 1 second, let me share. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'm really delighted to be here among the some of the legends in the industry. So it's really great opportunity to be on the virtual platform, and so wherein to showcase some of our views on the industry, real estate and infrastructure to build New India. So I really felt very happy to hear Mr. Satish Ravireddy Garu, their view. And also, first of all, I also like to thank CAI for organizing such this particular conference, and in association with Telangana government. I think there is a very good support from Mr. KTR and Jaishankarji, and like everyone. Really, you made it as a something interesting platform with conference and also exhibition, wherein you're able to really encourage and motivate in these tough times in the industry what's happening. And because everyone, some of the majority of the people are some in a negative and positive modes, so but it really motivates across the industry and really pushes everyone to go ahead. And in this instance, just I try to capture, first of all, I think I've seen, maybe I'm the youngest in all the panel, so like really I need support, everyone's support, if at all I do convey some mistakes here. So but here I'm trying to, whatever I think Mr. Satish Garu and Mr. Ravireddy Garu conveyed, just I think most of the things are conveyed in the visual form in the similar thing, but so that it can be recorded and shared across for the people. So here, like as we see the topic itself, infrastructure and real estate and building New India. So I believe needless to say, infrastructure and real estate is one of the second most industry which has a contribution in many ways after agriculture. So this particular industry, infrastructure and real estate works well, then I think the complete economy works well, I guess. Also, it can be vice versa as well, but it is it's a multifold approach. So we need to accelerate one of these components so that other things can be moved on. So that's how I look at it. And so as we can see, development status for any nation, it is if you take any country, it is not only India or any country, according to the asset value, according to the infrastructure levels in that country, that determines the development status of that particular country. and how their lifestyles and how their really comforts they have people. So I believe in that way, infrastructure and real estate has a huge relevance to really focus on. And also, as we see, infrastructure and real estate not only on its own, but it can influence many other industries. Like as per observation, I noticed like about 269 something to hundreds of industries depends on this particular industry. So if at all this industry works better, then all those industries works better. So it is a way of looking at that. And also, as we know, this is the most it's the beauty of the industry itself is that it can accommodate all kinds of employment, all kinds of skill level people, whether it is a fully skilled people or semi-skilled or unskilled. So it is able to accommodate all levels of the skilled people and provide the employment. So in that case, means it has the really huge impact on various types of people in the country. So that's how we can look at it and the importance of it. And also, as we see, the real estate sector is expected to reach a market size of $1 trillion by 2030, as per Indian statistics. And also, it is a contribution to country's GDP expected to be approximately 13% by 2025. So, which is a phenomenal and so it has a role to play. And as that is the topic of the day, and if we come to the Telangana, so how Telangana is placed and how Hyderabad is placed in this perspective, especially. So to some of the maybe investors may be looking this particular seminar and how it's really happening, because this is how I think our target audience are even investors and the customers and our colleague, other real estate and infrastructure companies, how we are moving ahead. So in that shown, I think we are really happy to see that advantage Telangana has a infinite opportunities. It has tremendous opportunities with how they are. So you can see, first of all these opportunities are possible because of here infrastructure, but not only that, with a very thoughtful and visionary, committed leadership. That is what I can see, a consistent and that particular leadership is really taking forward in all aspects, multidimensional aspects of economy and state is moving really stronger. So I believe that is really helping to be Hyderabad is a destination for investors, for everyone. And as Ravi Reddy Garu mentioned and Sasi Reddy mentioned, Hyderabad has world-class infrastructure. You name it, all kinds of in terms of roads, in terms of airport and hotels and 24 hours electricity, and also you have world-class IT companies and all types of all industrial companies. You have it here. So that's why you have a fiber and internet facilities and irrigation. You have all types of infrastructure is really built world-class level, and which is really essential for really running any industry, obviously. So, and also to run this particular industries, obviously we need a top-class talent pool. So, and as we know, we have a ISB, we have a IIT. Not only that, we have thousands of engineering colleges and very talented people who are really taking very higher positions in every companies. And so, and also in all aspects, who can really cater to the all industrial requirements. So they can be really great asset to the state and Hyderabad. And so I believe that has a great relevance to grow and as advantage for the Telangana. So, and also ease of doing business. As we said, as we have a thoughtful and committed leadership who is trying to come up with a lot of initiatives to make ease of doing business. So for the MNCs and for everyone who wants to invest in Telangana, so to make it life easy, you have, as our KDR says, like brainchild, and it's a lot of initiatives taken. It's one of the TSI paths which has been really promoted and getting executed, and this is one of the advantage we can consider as. And also innovation and technology hub. So as any country to grow, it's not only the big companies, but we also need to really encourage startups. So I believe this is one of the initiative. T-Hub is very powerful to encourage the startups and grow it. And also T-Fiber, whatever we do now in these circumstances, internet is the really key thing to do any of the innovative and disruptive things. That is, I think T-Fiber is one of those things to look at. So I think we cannot really have any conversation now in these days without COVID. Yeah. So I believe this particular, like any other industry in the whole world, I think first of all, it's very sad to have this particular situation across the for many lives, million lakhs of lives have gone actually. So it's really unfortunate to that. Along with that, there are many other challenges to the world. So if you take the particular infrastructure and real estate, so the cost of everything really gone up. You could take steel, cement, and many other raw materials which are required for the industry. They are gone up, and also the confidence levels of buyers or the spenders, like they are a little bit weak. But however, this is a kind of challenge, and what we have, and also affordability, because some of the industries, business entrepreneurs got affected, so hence their affordability levels are maybe a little bit less gone due to COVID situation. And the workforce, as everyone knows, the we have a lack of availability of the reduced availability of the workforce due to COVID situations. And also remote remote, probably you can say it is a it's a kind of opportunity, but lot of IT and IT enabled services. Many companies are running their organization, their operations remotely, and hence there is a there is a sensitive, not sensitive. It's an observation that maybe there is a issue for commercial space demand. So I believe, but however, all these challenges, though we have all these challenges, but how can we convert these as an opportunity? So these are challenges are existing which we need to accept everything, but how can we convert them into as an opportunity? That is a key thing for us. So in this way, I think everyone has a role to play in, whether it's the individuals or entrepreneurs or the government, and whether it's small or big or medium size, whatever it is, everyone has a role to play in, understand the challenges and to overcome those issues, as an opportunity. So I believe, and also ways of working. So we need to respect the ways of working, as we have a social distancing and the kind of limitations what we have in place. So we need to adapt, and we need to really make how ways of working we can do the business or operations going forward. I think already a lot of people really adapted. In fact, in the last 2-3 months, a lot of people initially felt very difficult, but I believe I can see very closely how it was before pre-COVID and post-COVID and current COVID actually. So because there is a definitely huge change in the ways of working, how it is running, and demand shift. This is the point I was trying to mention about. Due to this remote working, though your commercial space may be having less demand, if at all, we think that, I believe, as for me, this remote work may not be really productive forever for Indian type of culture, actually, in the sense where you have a bigger families, and where you have a houses, the productive levels may not expect forever like this, because as you have a like actually social distancing and COVID outside, so people are maybe better productivity, but however, in the going forward, you cannot expect the same level forever. So hence, and if at all it is there also, if at all commercial space is reduced, then automatically demand will be there for more bigger houses, obviously. So that will be compensated by residential zone. Like if at all for someone has living in 1500 SFT, but if they are working, if wife and husband are working, kids are really studying, they cannot be anymore in 1500 SFT. They have to go for a 2000, 2500, 3000. They have to upgrade their space. So in a way, you can see, estimate the more demand for the space. Actually, residential, if at all remote work continues, it doesn't matter whether, if at all it comes back, commercial demand will be there. If not, you have everyone needs to have a home office. And also adoption here, what I'm trying to mention as a digital or any kinds of adoptions, how we can adapt the things, the challenges, how we can able to tackle this. So this is the key thing what I can say. And also, as I said, everyone has a role to play. I believe already Mr. Satish Garu and Ravi Reddy Garu mentioned there are many ways how government can take a big level projects already, roads and bridges and power plants, irrigation projects, new things. So that, because this is a twofold advantages. Once you do these projects, then automatically you are able to provide a huge employment, and also you are really
accelerating the growth engine. So that will indirectly helps in many ways. So I believe this is a formula anyway in the worldwide applying and implementing. I believe just it's a kind of reminder here. So, and also, as I said, I believe it's a simple, let me spend maybe a couple of minutes here. And so I believe to reiterate about generally, anyway, big companies and industries are implementing various technologies, but I would like to just remind about the relevance of this technology for running our organization, especially, having integrated construction management process, for example, or BIM and building information modeling and other things. I think for this, not every SMEs can be affordable and having awareness. I suggest CI and CREDI to really come up with some special programs to really encourage all kinds of industries to awareness of what is really happening. And also just to really say, and to say like actually also we have taken inspiration from Harita Haram, the initiative by Mr. KCR Garu and across Swachh Bharat. So I think we really came up with a green building concept, vertical gardens oriented. It's in central Hyderabad, wherein, it's not possible. Usually it's 24 floors building. The point what I was trying to convey here is that the green has been really the response from the customers. What we have seen, it's really tremendous. So there is a acceptance from the customers is huge. So I really convey to our industry experts that there is a huge response from the customers. We can, though at the beginning we may find some challenging, but I believe there is worthwhile to explore further. Yeah. So I think that's it from my side. Yeah, please, maybe you can proceed. Thank you. Thanks.
Very, very informative, Ramababu garu. Very, very informative. You covered all the aspects. It's a very, very good, information for all participants. And also, once again, I thank you for, adopting IGBC platinum rating, taking pre-certification. I hope all the occupants of this building will be, very privileged, and it will add, some value addition to the brand Hyderabad. Now, I request
to have a big role, sir, in that. Mr. Shekhar has a big role in it, so I really thank for that.
We're all with you. We're all with you. We're all with you. It's a proud and privilege for also to refer this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we Rashik Reddy Garu, managing partner, Gayatri Developers and Promoters, is also General Secretary of CREDI Hyderabad, and he is playing a very big role during the COVID also I've seen interacting with each and every member of the fraternity and with other associations. And he has seen that everybody migrant labor. In fact, during the COVID, he has done a lot of service to the, I think, migrant labor in getting in touch with all the members, and time to time taking about the feedback from the labor camp developers, the complaints, immediately interact with the developers and officials. Yeah, and every aspect in CREDI Hyderabad is playing a very active role in organizing properties also, shows also, and is very knowledgeable person in a construction industry also. What to Rashikar, it's also CREDI is also a national organization. They got practices and regular interactions at the national international level. They're very well equipped, the association. They know what happens as the growth of information is exchanged in the CREDI. What to Rashikar for your use?
Yeah, thank you, Shekhar Reddy Garu. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And to start with, we have to thank CI Telangana for creating this platform, which is reaching the people in a bigger way, and where the change is needed. This is a better platform to come with. And apart from that, Satish Garu, Ravi Reddy Garu, and Rambabu Garu, and other Rambabu Garu, thanks for participating in this session. But this is anyway, all Satish Garu is expert in infrastructure. Maybe he is into L&T and all that. Even Ravi Reddy Garu is also into mega engineering. Now, I want to say this: when we think about making India and making Telangana, so the thing is like, first I want to say, first a person has to be made perfect as made in India, Telangana. So somewhere the change has to come. As a person, as a human being, anyone is like somewhere the change. That's where it has to start, I feel like. So taking into consideration of India and all that, okay, that's a vast subject. Maybe the growth of India again totally depends on how individual growth of state is there. So now we will say, maybe, I have little bit of thought process, maybe, how far it is right or wrong, I don't know. But we always think, maybe, Shekhar Reddy garu is there in the service for the last 35 years. These things, we had some mindset of doing something for the society all the time. So he was there, and from today also, we always think to do something better service for the society. At that time, we have formed a task force related to the maybe labor and all that relating to the COVID time. So then I observed the thing is like there's a shortfall for labor in Telangana. So lot of things came into focus, like where we are running short, where we are the lacking is there. From where we have to make the changes and go for a better growth of the industry. So now I can say we are taking it to Telangana. So mega total make in Telangana, we start different segments are there, how it develop. Agriculture is a major contributor. So for that, this government has taken initiative like Kaleshwaram project is there. So with that, why I'm telling all this is where the economic growth is there. And apart from that, because of the growth, how it can relate to a related real estate industry for its maybe for the future development and all that. So this agriculture, because of one particular project, Kaleshwaram project, this total of Telangana is around like you can say around 18 lakhs of acres of land is being cultivated. So that's giving more of opportunity for the people across the state to get their earnings. Even though earlier, I don't know, maybe 20-30% of the people were doing the farming and all that. Now majority of the people have been shifted to that. So that is the one part which is making the Telangana to be in a better growth spur. And apart from that, again, there's the other different, maybe these infrastructures, physical, social, and industrial also. So this physical, we can say airport, only one airport right now we have, even Hyderabad. But again, no government is thinking about the other airports and all that. Apart from that, social, education and health is really good. Only in Hyderabad, much better is there. But now Hyderabad government has to focus across the state also. And apart from that, industrial infrastructure is the better, is the one of the best in the country, we can say. Even the ease of doing business, TS iPass. Now the government's initiative in policies, related new policies, a lot of industrial policies they have taken, like TSI pass, I can say, and now recently they have taken the policy, new policy for building also TSB pass. So these are the growth factors which is helping the Telangana, people of Telangana to come out with maybe more of opportunities and all that. So with this, what we can see is now the growth is there. Now the next, making Telangana what is needed. Now we need more of skilling, better education. The people know the opportunities have to be created. Like now we can see because of this COVID, 90% of the labor have been a shortfall here. So to survival, we have to maybe train our own people here. Recently, the Minister Garu, CM Garu has said, some Gulf also they want to bring back the people. So some company has been formed, and now there's the need of like technology, like L&D is there, Mega is also there. There's the time-bound projects how people are executing. Now there is a requirement is of enhancing our abilities to do the works in a better way. So for that, now the government focus should be on how we can improve the manpower, whatever the sector, like even related to the whatever industry is like, further the skilling and maybe a better education system, where is it related to the experience and all that has to be done. So that part the government has to focus. And again, no, this is related to real estate industry also. Lot of more than 250 subsectors are there. For that, government of Telangana has to focus, like maybe giving some key incentives and all that, where they can encourage the people to come forward and they can start their own manufacturing units over here. We as the industry can, as you know, a lot of that particular products we can utilize. Maybe instead of they can mandate like 40 to 50% of that particular product has to be taken by the Telangana people. Now definitely that also we can it be encourageable to them. So this is the requirement, like all manufacturing units related to the real estate industry can be encouraged, and we as the industry can can take a lot of products from them, and it can also indirectly both of it can be helpful for us. And again, apart this everywhere, this IT is also in a better way. A lot of employment is there. Pharma is coming up now with all this. Hyderabad real estate is also coming up in a better way. So we relate this not only as one particular sector is improved, each is interlinked with each and everything, but more of like how we utilize the people and how we train them and how we get them to work with us. So this is a thing, maybe later on we can discuss what are the other things is there in between. So this is from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashida. Thank you very much for your views. Now I request Engineer Rambabu Garu, CMAC India Private Limited. Rambabu Garu, see now today we are talking about missionary, but Rambabu Garu is a visionary. So long ago, he started construction machinery equipment manufacturing unit. So I owe to Rambabu Garu for all your experience and in the construction machinery and how you are making developers contracted to buy your machinery because you started much early. Instead of practicing, you started this. And it's now today everybody is after you. I think maybe your turnover will go up by maybe 20 times, 30 times during the COVID and after COVID. And also a similar question to you. See, the huge future is there, infrastructure requirement is there, the hurdles are there, challenges are there, scope is there, money, we have to raise the money also. So what is your view on the overall on this, in building India?
So I presume I have like 5 minutes to talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. We have been witnessing a lot of changes. I just heard the stalwarts like Satish, Ravi Reddy Garu, and Rambabu Burgu. They have addressed the issues about the congestion in the airports and the migrant labor, which has been addressed by Ravi Reddy Garu. Yeah, there are problems. The processes are changing. As the processes are changing, the habitual changes also have to come in place, both in terms of application to the process, the equipment that has to be brought down, and how to use the equipment also. We have just implemented new equipment where the builder had no labor to come in and the walls have to be erected. And there's one Robomatic who bought in the precast walls, and their challenge was how to ship them to each floor. So we came up, we gave a solution, it started working. Instead of a huge investment of like 50 lakh, we gave it in say around 11 lakhs or 12 lakhs where people are using. So for every process change, we need to understand there is going to be a process for the mechanization and the adaptability at the sites as well. So this is where, as a mechanization consultant, I have been approached by various people for various of their problems. So that is one thing. Other thing is Durgam Cheruvu, which is being built by L&T. I take pride in saying that we have given the underbridge process, that equipment which has been first time designed and adopted in India. I'm not saying innovated in India, but we have adopted to the conditions, which is of a 30-meter span. And they could do the 234-meter under the bridge all at a go with that equipment. So this is where the mechanization process comes in place. For example, we have been supplying what is called as the passenger and material hoist. Today we understand bricks have reduced their weight but increase in volume. So we started giving the equipment with enhanced volume than capability of the weight. So these are some changes which we accept. And along with this, whenever we're talking about the equipment that has to come in, we also need to address the operations and the maintenance of these equipments at the sites. Operations in terms of the site priorities, which has to go up first, which has to reach up first, and what sort of timings have to be allocated to them. The other thing is, instead of talking about 100 manpower, these equipments will reduce the manpower by almost 80% in terms of the lift and reach. So these are some changes which have to come in terms of the equipment. Yes, the COVID has brought us a blessing in terms of the initial priorities of Indianization, indigenization, and less dependency on the Far East or the European subcontinents. So, gentlemen, India is getting up. When Ravi Reddy Garu has spoken about the migration labor, what we should focus with respect to our government is, why have we to bring in the labor from outside the states? Why are we not able to encourage our own labor to come in and work? This is a big question to our government, to all the bureaucrats as well. So I thank Shekhar Reddy Garu and his team at CIA for bringing this wonderful, informative webinar. Thank you for the opportunity given.
Thank you, Rambabu Garu. Now we see, because everybody can't go for the highest technology, but conventional technology will also continue. But as you said, Robomatic, he has brought in hollow core walls. Similarly, we need to bring in more of factory made products, and also you need to manufacture many tools and machinery equipment to minimize the labor component. I'll come back to you again. We'll have one question round now. So Satish Garu, are you there, sir?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Sir, you have huge experience abroad in India, and you initiated precast also, shear wall in tunnel form in L&T.
Yeah.
So what do you suggest? Because there is we have small developers, medium-sized developers, large developers in the country, and also in Telangana. So cost versus capital cost versus are they themselves. One is captive consumption. Second is somebody can install it and sell it to the precast also. So, so there is a precast engineering is there, precast and pre-engineering, a composite or shear wall, and you also spoke about PPVC. PPVC maybe high-end projects may go.
Yes.
But in future, that the cost will come down, then they will adapt. But meanwhile, you spoke about affordable housing. Second, now there are low-rise and high-rise building also. You can also suggest for the low-rise what is the technology, high-rise what is the technology. Because taller buildings also they need to adopt. Specific to our local developers, this is the time now to adopt technology. There is a huge labor shortage is there. There is no other option for us, sir. What is sir?
No, what I want to say, if the number of the units to be built is not huge, it's something like let's say 500 to less than 250 or so, then you have to go with the conventional technology. But if you go for either an aluminum form or you go for a precast, it will be too costly. And if the building volumes are about, let's say, 500 to 1,000 and all, you can go with the aluminum technology. So because see, it depends on the number of users. Then only it will be feasible. So then you can go. But if I have mass housing, let's say 5,000 to 10,000 units and all, see that time, then we need to go for something like precast, because the kind of establishment that you do, that will become feasible and it will be very fast. Also, see, like suppose you're doing, let us say, about 10,000 units. If you want to have to be done in, let us say, 3 years, then you have to do about 3,000 units in 1 year. And if you want to have, you see, like every aluminum formwork and all, the technology is almost about once a week you can do 1 floor. So with 1 set you can do 4. And suppose you want to do then 3,000 in 12 months, and actually, so it becomes almost 250. Let us say 250, and so to have that you require almost 60 sets of aluminum form. So it becomes little too much. So that is how, depending on the volume, depending on the complexity, I think we should go ahead and use the technology. All the 3 are okay, but what we feel is something like the toilets and all. You have to do it with the pots actually. So where you can finish it, because see, each house will have about 3 toilets, 4 toilets, and also it becomes very complicated for us to do toilets. And you have to do the waterproofing, you have to do the testing and all. So only thing today, what kind of pots we're using are very heavy. That's regular concrete we are using. We are actually trying to use the pots with lightweight concrete. So we are doing some research on that. So once we come back, then any smaller thing can also do the erection. So all the three are okay, but in a country where we need mass housing, affordable housing, I think precast is the answer. I think we have to move first.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Ravi Reddy Garu, you spoke about the banking sector, banking crisis. They are conservative. So, suppose now in real estate, now we have alternate the mode of funding for the rental income. We could able to initiate those days, and we could able to bring REITs, the Real Estate Investment Trust. Similarly, do you think, Ravi Reddy Garu, that there is need a same fund, similar type of fund for infrastructure also, long-term funding, and also real estate developers also some funding is required, because now government also realized that there is a need for long-term funding also. I think, is it the right way, or do you have any other option, Ravi Reddy Garu?
I'm audible now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think there are two things. One is, see, this, for example, you're talking about building project, there's a difference. For example, somebody is going for a road project or a solar project. The assured revenues are in form of a power purchase agreement, which can go to 20 to 25 years. But if a small entrepreneur or a medium-sized entrepreneur wants to set up a solar park and ask for a 25-year repayment period, I think there's no bank which will entertain it. So that is one thing, is for these infra projects which have a kind of a guaranteed income for long term, for 20 years, 25 years. There has to be a policy where the bank will also give a loan for 20, 25 years. That will encourage a lot of small and medium entrepreneurs to enter and be able to handle it. Apart from that, what you said, like any kind of, for example, Mr. Rambabu mentioned machinery. Somebody wants, I'm a good mechanical engineer, I got some ideas, or I've seen some ideas abroad which I want to implement here. And I want to set up an equipment manufacturer as a small and medium enterprise. Again, it's very difficult to get loans. They'll ask for securities and all that. For an entrepreneur who may be very, very technologically savvy and has great ideas, but getting seed money in the Indian banking system is a very, very difficult task. So I'm not just saying banking. If you talk about US or something, there's a very strong, strong network of angel investors and VC funds, and that whole kind of investment infrastructure has grown very well. Unfortunately, India, it's in a very nascent stage. So if somebody, like I was talking to one young entrepreneur last month, he said, sir, I just want 25 lakhs. The bank is saying, unless you want, you take 2 crores, we can't give an industry loan. So there are, some weird regulations, and the absence of a kind of a small scale investment infrastructure, whether it's angel investors or venture capitalists, is totally absent. I really don't know what's the solution, how to bring it about, but that will really help in the induction of a lot of young people into entrepreneurship. And I think it will help in all the aspects of Make in India. But I really have no idea of how to make it come about. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Same question to MB Satish Garu also, because earlier, the olden days, government institutions used to give seed capital and also subsidy. But now we are all facing problems, and government now and then they're coming certain fund. Instead of that, similar to any mutual fund, even the REITs, similar to REITs, they can invent some new instruments, and we can ask that the entrepreneurs to go about, raise a cheaper fund from the citizens or overseas, so that this fund can be funded to infrastructure or developers for any other thing at a nominal rate of interest if the tax benefit is given. Satish Garu?
Yeah, no, you see, like you have REIT in the real estate, you also have InvIT actually for the infrastructure. So I think through InvIT, actually people have been, it is not actually for the new projects, for the old projects and all, through InvIT actually they have been investing. I think we'll have to really see that some kind of funding. The government is also looking at, having some, institutes where they can fund for the infrastructure. So I think that is something. I think ultimately the infrastructure has to be funded by government. I think they have to create this vehicle infrastructure. Once you have infrastructure, everything else will happen. So I think the infrastructure portion per se has to be government. Okay, there will be many modes to like I said, InvIT, to PPP, and so all that. But ultimately, it is the government actually which has to really create.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Rambabu Garu from Pranava Group. Sir, what is your impression or views? See, first time CA taken an initiative and started this virtual exhibition. Because it's very new to us, because regularly we go to physical property shows and then we see all the projects and then some information is available there. But now we started because of COVID this virtual exhibition. Do you think that this is one of the cheapest mode of reaching the interested people, provided the CIA is going to popularize this through social media and with all the help of all of you, all the exhibitors also? Then do you think it's a right idea? Will it continue further, or it has a short lifespan? What is your percent? Because you are the overseas, or you there where there is NRI, and you have a lot of knowledge, and you are exposed to many things. And what do you feel about the future of the virtual exhibition, please?
Yeah, it's really brilliant and creative idea, Andy. Basically, using very simple technology, very innovatively and creatively, because it's such a beautiful platform. When I really seen that, because I've never seen before such a having a exhibition stall wherein you see like a physical stalls there, and you click on a stall and you see the against all details, something like that. So it is giving a really a great user experience. So in terms of reaching to because in this really tough times, cannot able to use, the customers cannot go to the really all the suppliers or whatever the things they want to see physically. So, but still things needs to move on. Obviously, they have to take some decisions. Their business needs to run. But how can you need to have a platform where companies and needs to showcase their products and services, whatever you do, whether it's a real estate industry or anything. I think this is such a beautiful platform where everyone can have an opportunity to showcase, because there is a very thing that people can visit. They can call the sales reps from the companies directly from there, and they can also drop their visiting cards, etc. So it looks to be a very simple thing, but presented in a beautiful manner, and also it has a lot of potential. And also it's a good idea that it is not just 2-3 days exhibition kind of thing, and where you really make it as a start point, 2 days conference, also collaborating with government of Telangana and making it further. I think it's really very timely dish, and I strongly say it can really go strongly. It needs even more wider coverage, and also in the social media everywhere, that it needs to be spread about it. Because I guess maybe with the limited time, probably there was a little bit less on that aspect, I can say. But however, as it is running for next 90 days, you have a big scope for really using it properly. I guess it's a brilliant idea. Whoever has initiated this one, I believe you might be one of them, I guess. So it's a good idea.
Thank you for your encouragement. I request all the participants here in the show, in the conference, to encourage this, participate yourself, and you ask all the manufacturers and service provider to exhibit here. It's only 25,000 rupees, not much. Kindly encourage this. Now I request the question to Rajshekhar Reddy Garu. See, we have seen these migrant workers, the suffering and their issues, and the government of Telangana also constituted an expert committee on this, and they have come out with a website to enroll the workers, the Telangana native workers. Various trade people also they were enrolled there, and within about 10 days, about 10,000 workers also enrolled in the website. See, do you think, Rajshekhar Reddy Garu, for a healthy the industry, do we need to have some NSE or somebody continuing to have this database and maintaining a cell wherever suppose any developer or contractor requires, he can give a indent to this is a call as cell or exchange, whatever is there. All types of trades people should be available with prior skill level certification by NSE, or if it is required, further skilling can be done, or and the cell can meet the requirement of anybody. The cell can already NSE has reached to every village to the government machinery to enroll them. The only thing is a matter of time. We have to know as and when we approach further, if they also know that there is a institute, there is a center, there is a cell or exchange that is entertaining the employment, definitely it will have a scope. But what do you think that you should run in a professional way? And I'm glad we all are supporting the NSE also, along with the government, all the associations supporting. So what do you think that the cell, how to manage the cell, how it is going to be helpful, how the future in the industry also, how the development of the skills to be encouraged there, and with say we are not utilizing the NSE in a proper way. I think there is a need to have more interaction with the NSE like institution, and I want your views on that, please.
Yeah, thing is like it's a really good initiative taken by the Telangana government. They started this for when they invited the Gulf employees back. So apart from that, not only this is a requirement of the Gulf employees for the industry and all that, but this is a basic need of creating more employment in our state itself. So there's more of, we can see some of the industries, whatever the industry is like, depended on the migrated labor, not the local labor. Wherever is available here, only 10% of the labor is available here. Why? Because they don't have the skilling, or they don't have the more of exposure, we can say. So now the need of this NSE and this company, particular company, when it started, it is focusing on like wherever the opportunities, availability of the people are there, they can reach us. So it went in a better way, and maybe within one short time of almost 10 days, more than 10 to 12,000 people are again enrolled. Now this being happened, and what happening is this being circulated to the industry people, where there is need, they can come out with the requirement and they can contact them. But it's not like that. It should not be like direct contacting the labor who are really wanted to work. There should be a central separate cell for this, where the required people can reach them, and maybe they can give the details of their requirement, and the other particular cell can negotiate with them, or maybe inform them to reach the people who are in need of them. So this is the way it can be maybe helpful for the industry, and both the way also for the people who are in need of employment. And apart from that, more of this, I was saying from the starting of my thing, I am more interested in government giving more focus on skilling of the people. Not only this uneducated, there is also requirement for the people who are maybe qualified also, where they have to get more of exposure. Like L&T is there. The work structure, the way of the performance of the engineer supervisor itself, it is a par with the 20-30 years experience outside. So these kind of things are needed for a people who want to come into the maybe more of exposure in the recent time because of this code or whatever it is. Now, because why the requirement is like now we have to go for more of technology, more of latest enhancements. Is whatever the best opportunities we have to utilize that. So now this engineering or maybe related to our industry, I can say more of engineers also can be trained. Maybe government can use the services of NSE, and even apart from that, like well-established companies like L&T and all that, in collaboration, they can train the people where the industry is ready. We are, as an industry in Hyderabad, across Telangana, even across India also can take them. So now government has to focus more on giving opportunities and reaching the people, making them to know these are the facilities, availabilities are available with the state, and then it will be really helpful.
Thank you. Thank you. There is a need also. I think
there is a really need. We can.
Satish Garu, Rajshekhar Reddy, and everybody will agree. Even Ravi Reddy Garu also. Rambab, everybody will agree. There is a need to not only adoption of technology, how to reduce the cost of the building material.
Yeah.
Rambab Garu, CMAC Rambab Garu, I am coming to you. I am going to hit you. You see, why should not you people reduce the cost? See, when the e-commerce has come, the cost has come down. The customer, the citizens are benefiting. Why should not we have an exclusive e-commerce the portal for all the building material and machinery, tools, everything? So what is your suggestion on this? Because you are running an industry. Whoever supplies at the best price, best quality will survive, Rambabu garu.
Okay, unlike your FMCGs or other things, in engineering and capital equipment, there are indexes which dictate the price. Innovation has to be paid for some amount. As far as the pricing is concerned, if you take the steel index of China and Europe, we are much costlier to them by almost 36%. Copper, we are costlier. Land usage, we are costlier. The financial cost, we are costlier. And the accountability of the end laborer, we are on the lowest side. If I pay, say, 800 rupees in China to a worker or in Thailand, he produces at least like 1400 rupees worth or 400 rupees worth. If I pay 800 in Hyderabad, I only get like 400 rupees worth of the staff. So we cannot compare ourselves immediately to start with the foreign pricings. So there has to be an encouragement in terms of the cost of finance, the cost of real estate, and the indexes of the gross metals. This is where we have to come in. Now, coming to the portals, yes, everybody will have to migrate there. But then there is additional cost of the digital marketing instead of the physical marketing. Yes, the prices will get like stabilized maybe after a couple of years and not immediately. This is my catch on it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hope I have answered.
Thank you. And last round, if I think Narendra permits, we'll have one closing remarks from every speaker. Satish Garu.
No, I think India has a bright future, and technology is something that which keeps changing, and we have to adopt to the technology. And whatever you are saying, like I think the e-commerce for building materials and all will come actually. Many of us done digitally, like we have something called Conzo, where we compare whatever materials and all are available. So, and also there is a thing called credit here, so that is something that we have 30 days credit, 60 days credit, all that, and also it will come, but it will take some time to evolve. But India has a bright future, and this pandemic is there for only short time, but I think we will come back with the
Rambabu from Pranava, your closing remark.
Yeah, I believe as Satish Garu mentioned, India has a big role to play, and we can definitely going to play. Only one suggestion, I think, what I can say remark in this time, as I've already mentioned earlier, in terms of technology-wise, in terms of improving the digital operations within the company, like SMEs especially. So right now, earlier, the main thing for adapting any technology is the cost and awareness, knowledge, and implementation skills. So I believe due to this current technology, cloud and other technologies which are really coming to the very cheap in terms of whether you want to implement any high class ERP application, for example, SAP or anything. So it's very simple. It's like monthly, you don't need to pay lakhs of rupees. Something just with a monthly subscription model, you can go for it and experiment it. If it works, you can really improve your operations. That way, we can always, SMEs can really make a better ways of doing that. And not only that, usually acceptance will not be there digitally, usually. But whatever the reasons, now due to this COVID, everyone is aware of digitally. So you have a better acceptance from the people in your organization. So I think I suggest to go for it and also utilize all kinds of infrastructure opportunities around and make it. I guess I wish you all the best. Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Ashok Reddy Garu, your closing remark.
India is successful with the reforms and all that. Make in India, someone says it's successful and somewhere says it is a failure. But Make in Telangana, when we started, we have to make it successful means there is a lot of involvement as from from the people and from the government also. So these are the, we can say, with the studies and all that, we are in the growth spur of 56 to 60%. It is there. Now other opportunities, whatever has to be created, now that opportunity has to be, government has to make it possible with the ease of doing business. So like more of manufacturing is the thing it is required. Whatever the manufacturing units, they have to come up, they have to cooperate with the people who are coming forward and give the necessary incentives and all that. So with that, we can see real estate is a part of the growth. Maybe not it's the second largest. We always see as an industry giving more employment and maybe not for doing business, but giving back to the society. We can we always feel. So this is the thing. Government has to focus more on creating business employment opportunities. And we want, as a citizens of India, we want to go along with the governments and all that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, MB Satish Garu, Dr. Ravi Reddy Garu, Mr. Rambabu Burugu.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Ravi Rajshekhar Reddy Garu, and also on last moment, immediately when we requested Rambabu Garu, Engineer Rambabu Garu has joined from CMAC. Thank you all. Thank you very much. And I think it's a very fruitful discussion. Many developers, contractors who are small and medium, maybe at the large developers also, I think they might have got some some information, some takeaway from this discussion, I hope. And I thank the chief guest of this the conference, K.T. Ramarao Garu, and all the officials and speakers, the distributors and also participants, mostly all the senior people of CIA, with the past chairs or the conveners of all the sectors, and CA, particularly the CA Secretariat, Subhajit, everybody. I don't want to give a name, but all the entire team, they have done extremely good job for the last many days, working very hard on this to promote this. First time this is exhibition is there, and also this what you call the 2 days conference, which was supported by government, and Jayesh Ranjan Garu and his all colleagues has given a lot of push to this. And all the officials who most of them chaired, I have seen the most of the sessions are chaired by the different department, the senior officials, all the speakers, all the resource people, and the media also. They reported very well. So everybody, on behalf of the CA Telangana, on my behalf, on everybody's behalf, I'm expressing my thanks and gratitude. Thank you very much. We'll see you again. Thank you very much. And thank you all of you. Promote this virtual exhibition. Let us make it successful so that other associations also can start this way, because this should be a benchmark. We have started this thing. There are a lot of problems initially. A lot of resistance will be there from participants, from the exhibitors also. But once you go on doing next 15-20 days, next 1 month, if you go on pulling many people, even people like Rambabu Garu and everybody has come voluntarily, that we will also push from our sector. So even Rambabu, everybody, Pranava Rambabu also, can I request you, and particularly L&T team can help us. They got a lot of suppliers, everybody. Push them into this so that this will have a bigger platform to know. In fact, some of developers to me that certain percentage of the material will buy from the local manufacturer to start with. After when they are convinced, they can buy 100% also. This is a voluntary offer is come from developers. This is a good initiative. And thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you very much, Shekhar. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.